For my first Beyblade unboxing of 2026, we have MeteorDragoon. Finally got it. Here's the back of the box. So, let's go ahead and open it up. Alright, so everything out of the box now. First up, the instructions, as always. We also have a launcher with this one, of course being a left spin launcher in white with some purple dragon winder. Very nice. Getting into the actual bay now. First up, the Ratchet 370. This is a reused part, unfortunately. It has a light blue here in the center, darker blue on the outside, all translucent. Yeah, 370. I don't really like this choice too much because I think 3 sides is perfectly fair. Why a 70 height though? I'll talk more about that later, but not big on them choosing a 70 height of all things. We have a new bit here, which is Jolt. It's in purple, has a kind of really small flat surface here, so it's a bit more controlled, but it has these 16 gears. It's more chaotic on the extreme line. Extra burst resistance as well. So there's Jolt. And for the blade, we have MeteorDragoon, which looks like this. Very red underneath, got the kind of purple-ish rubber, the white paint. Red continues onto the gear chip there as well. Then there's the sticker. Again, I want to talk a little bit about the design here. So my main problem with this blade is that it's a Dragoon L-Drago sort of fusion, which on paper does sound really cool. My problem though is that we've gotten a Dragoon based bay, but this is our L-Drago based bay. There's no regular L-Drago, it's just immediately L-Drago Dragoon fusion. I really wish we had had a dedicated L-Drago here instead of a mix right away. I feel like L-Drago definitely deserved a proper bay entirely based on it with nothing else, so not sure how much I like that, but anyways, again, I'll talk about more of the design stuff later, so for now, let's go ahead and actually check out the part weights. So first we have 370 at 6.4 grams, and then Jolt at 2.59 grams, and of course MeteorDragoon 39.06 grams. That is very heavy, and just for the full combo here as well, 48 grams even. Again, very heavy. Alright, let's go ahead and start putting this thing together. So we have MeteorDragoon 370 Jolt. Interesting color scheme there. So, I mean, it looks pretty cool. Do have a couple complaints, but overall I still like the bay. I guess we should also do some comparisons to the previous Dragoon / Drake bays. So first off, of course, we have Cobalt Drake, the original. So definitely a level of similarity, I guess, in the gear chip designs, but pretty different. Then for Cobalt Dragoon, the only other Dragoon, going from, BX to UX here. Again, some similarities, but largely very different, I feel, aside from the fact that, they're both left spin and the gear chip design. But beyond that, yeah, they're very different. Then we have Impact Drake, the other UX bay in this line. Also has rubber, so a bit more similar in that sense, but overall, I mean, still fairly different, I'd say. I guess you got these rubber prongs here, but yeah, gear design's kind of similar. Very different beyond that, though. And just for good measure, we also have Shelter Drake. Yeah, these are extremely different. Just wanted to show it for, clarity's sake, I guess. Alright, now let's go ahead and actually sit here and talk a bit about MeteorDragoon. Yeah, this is a very weird bay. So I'll just say first up, let's get the physical rating out of the way. How much do I like this thing's appearance? I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, it's good. My main issue visually with this bay, first up, underneath here, I wish Jolt was a similar color to the rubber here. I wish these were matching. I don't really like that they aren't personally, but it's not a huge issue either. The main problem comes from the view right now, the blade. I feel like the white paint here is a bit much, and this is coming from someone who actually likes white paint a lot. I almost feel like they should have something with a Cobalt Drake color scheme here. Keep the red underneath, maybe extend that to making the rubber red as well, and then give it blue paint. I think that actually worked better. Alternatively though, have more rubber poking out on the blade, like with this point here. I think if they broke up the paint a bit more, this thing would look way, way cooler. But as is, it looks a bit too plain. Again, I still like it, a 7's a good score. I just feel like this thing had way higher potential than what it actually is. The conceptual score is where this thing gets weird. Jolt is kind of a strange part, but whatever, I don't care. It's new, it works, sure. 370 is kind of awkward. For an L-Drago based bay, you should really try and go with an upper attack design here, which you can definitely make an argument saying that they did, but if that's the case, why put it on a 70 height? Honestly, this would have been a great chance to release something like 350. And while I don't like day one parts, if it has to be reused, just use 360 at that point. 370, not really an ideal choice. As for the blade, this thing is weird. It sort of has a upper attack-ish thing going on, but again, not entirely. It has rubber, and it's kind of round, so it can kind of spin steel, but it's not entirely round either, which makes sense. But if you want to make this an attack bay and not an equalizer, maybe make the contact points a bit more pronounced. Because they also made this thing unbalanced so clearly, I think they wanted it to be an attacker and not just an equalizer. So why would you not go a bit further with these contact points? And yeah, this thing's also kind of just asymmetrical, unbalanced, whatever, like I've been saying. Almost feels like there's a bit of a third reference to make here with Dark Knight Dragoon from Metal Fight Zero G, as that thing was kind of asymmetrical as well. I don't think that was intentional necessarily, but it's kind of an interesting note, I guess. But with all that said, I'm gonna give this thing a 6 out of 10 conceptually. It's not bad. There's things going on here, I just don't think all of them necessarily mesh together too well. Again, it's an L-Drago bay, go for rubber attack, why is it taller? And then you also have this whole offset thing, it's an attack type you want to be an attacker. You don't want the rubber to be used for equalization, but then you make it still fairly round and maybe assume that the offset balance will just kind of force it into an attack roll. That's not the best way to balance it, I feel. It just feels like there's some mixed ideas here that don't really mesh perfectly. I know I might seem kind of harsh on this bay, it's just that there was so much potential for an L-Drago based bay. And then they mix it with Dragoon, which I'm not huge on. I really wish they just made a proper L-Drago bay, nothing else. But you could argue it's just the motif, so it should still be fine, sure. And they had some solid ideas, I just feel like the execution ends up being awkward, and that kind of is a bit frustrating, as I could easily have seen this bay getting like 10s in both categories, pretty easily honestly. So even though it technically gets positive scores from me, it's a bit frustrating knowing that yeah, it could have been much, much better. This is a weird bay. I feel like it'll still generate a lot of hype, as again it is based on L-Drago, and if you know anything about Metal Fight fans, they are obsessed with L-Drago. They can't get enough of that thing. So overall, I do think it is a solid release. Definitely a worthwhile bay in Beyblade X. It's just, for what it was supposed to be, and the fact that it's a December starter, I feel like they could have taken this thing a bit further, and maybe stuck to a specific identity rather than kind of doing a few too many things and not tying them together in the best way. But maybe that's just me. Anyways, that's really all I have for this video. Would have liked to be a bit more positive in an L-Drago Beyblade X version kind of video, but yeah, it just doesn't really hit the mark for me. But it is what it is, I guess. So anyways, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.